fine?
Yeah, there's the 2 cameras.
Oh, okay.
So yeah.
I emailed Mike this morning about the, we can just add this to our equipment upgrades. And I told Amanda, we set up like this whole, well, it was so funny, is I thought that I got it, I don't know if you had something that was kind of right. And I put this thing behind it, I was looking at ethics thing, and then I like moved it out and it didn't make any difference, and she's like, no. I think Sarah's joining us in person. I didn't hear from Phil. I'm guessing Phil will be here.
What's this? This content being sent to a third party?
Oh,
I've never seen that.
yeah, no, it always says that because
Does it?
it's streaming on YouTube.
Never seen that, or I've never read it. Just
It says it every time. They're all up and on. It's really funny. I that's my thing. My brain, I my brain today. Cleared it and now there's nothing there.
You did good. You just got everything organized.
The hard thing is I scanned a bunch of stuff, so now my email has all these files. I have to make electronic sorted. I guess I could come Friday at 6 o'clock.
Oh. Very good.
There's Sarah.
All right, at 6 o'clock, we're on the forum. Start with the pledge of allegiance, will be for reading and respecting top. Johnny, you drive, pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our dear Heavenly Father, we're be thankful for all of our many blessings. We're thankful for this city of Pleasant View that we have to serve and live in. While there's many decisions and discussions today, we ask this Spirit with us. Give the first responders, the police department, fire department, and our public works as they help take care of our city, that they'll also be safe and protected. Thank you for the residents and for this beautiful place to live. We say this in Jesus Christ. One is declaration of conflict of interest. And then bringing that up, there is a conflict of interest and a ethical pledge to sign it's up to that in front. It's our aims. Or we have to say that, right? Yes, that's the law, but you don't have to sign something so whatever, I guess that falls under ethics. All right, one of my pet peeves. No conflicts to declare. We move on to 1C, public comments, questions from mayor or council, limited to 3 minutes. Remember, the public wish to address this. Seeing none, we'll move to item 2, consent items, bill of Berkeley City. Mayor, I'll make a motion to keep the bill. Motion by Gibson, second by Erie, further discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 3, award recognition. Recognition of Lewis Krause for winning the statewide Constitution B competition. Reed Miller's here. He's the Constitution B judge. I think you can tell us a little bit what that's all about.
First of all, I would like to say I appreciate what
Yes,
the mayor and the city administrator and recorder for making this possible and put us on the agenda.
Oh, good, sorry. That's in my.
Oh, could I do it?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so at any rate, we appreciate this opportunity. I was the senior judge at this competition, And what it is we have participants from Tremont through Draper that competed like with, it was teams that there were 4 on a team, and they pushed the buzzer to, whoever pushed the buzzer first would be able to answer a question. And then there were 18 questions in a round, and they had to compete in each round. There were 5 rounds that they competed again in, and all the questions were on the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, the Bill of Rights, and the amendments. And so a study guide was given to each participant. And so they had a month or 2 months or whatever to go over and really absorb this material. And then they had to develop the ability to push the button fast. Now, there were 17 different groups in the junior high division. There was also an elementary division and a high school division. Now, I would like to call up Lewis Krause, if you could. Lewis is an amazing person, see. He competed in the junior high division. What grade are you in, Lewis? 5th grade. Now I took a picture of his competitors. 9th graders can be kind of tall. And yet Lewis actually was the fastest buzzer pusher of any of them. I mean, he did it. And there were 5 different rounds. And after the 5 rounds, Lewis's team was undefeated. And then they had another team that was undefeated, and they played each other. What was the score of the final round? 77-15. I mean, and so now the interesting thing about this is the competition was held at the Salt Lake Capitol Rotunda. What an awesome place to hold it, and there they were. For winning first place, Lewis gets nice medallion, very nice. And then the team gets a first place trophy, which is really good. But then the team gets $500 as the winning thing. So divide that by 4, and Lewis gets a check for $125. To me, this is really quite significant. Now, Lewis was on the team elementary division last year. And now it will be in elementary division this next year too. Probably, unless he goes to the junior high division. He's got an older sister who's in junior high. Who knows? They might take home first place in both the elementary and junior high. But it gives the students an opportunity to really become familiar with our most important documents. And okay, did I tell you that I was going to ask you any questions?
No.
Okay, let's see. According to the Declaration of Independence, what are our unalienable rights that not even government can take away from us? You forgot it, okay. Can you do the first, another one? According to the Constitution, the First Amendment, what are some of our basic rights?
Freedom of religion, speech, expression,
That's right. That's pretty good. Hey, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, okay? Are our basic unalienable rights, and that pursuit of happiness includes property. Okay? Well, congratulations, Lewis.
Way to go, bro.
Even I have to review all those different things. I mean, sometimes they leave my.
So Lewis, who's on your team? Who else do you compete with? Are they kids at your school, your grade? Okay.
There was Sam Kimball was from North Ogden. Another one, Taylor Wimmer, was from Tremont. And then we had Miss Leah Christensen, who was from Clinton.
Awesome.
But they gathered together and studied together and for they accomplished it, they won it. I it's very awesome.
That's quite an accomplishment, at any rate, that is a wonderful thing. Liz, could you come up here? Come around the back here and shake everybody's hand, will you, please? No, that's awesome. There you go. That is really, that's really cool. We love that kind of stuff here. In government, so. Anybody have anything to say?
No, I'm glad the competition goes on. Who puts on the competition? What organization is this?
It's Freedom Lights Foundation. There's a person by the name of Delene England from Bountiful who
Lights?
puts it all together. She forms the judges, of which I was a senior judge. I've been in the system now for, well, I don't know, a couple of decades, I guess. They've held it. What? Delene England. Delane.
It makes me
Delane England.
with the state of the world today and not understanding and recognizing what is important and what makes America great. I had no idea this was happening, and I appreciate that. I appreciate the family. I'm sure a lot of that hope was held from the family, and then putting those principles. It's a huge thing. And I wish everybody could go through those types of things and understand really how important now vital that Constitution and those things are to our freedoms. Thank you.
Well said, Mr.
Thank you. Thanks. All right, we'll move on to item 4, consolidated fee schedule. Discussion of possible action to amend the consolidated fee schedule by amending the consolidated fees for central review and improvement district. If I be included in the schedule, resolution 2024-L. Florida.
Yeah, these are not our impact fees. These are Central Weaver sewers. We collect them for them on our building permits, but we need them on our schedule so people, when they look at the fees, what we're going to be charging, at least they're aware that this is going to be hitting their building permit. And we're going to actually post this on our city inspect so they know July 1st, fees change. But we just want these in here so everybody knows.
These are residential and commercial, both on.
This is residential, and down at the very bottom, they have to contact Central Weaver Sewer. So there's a few years worth.
Quite
Expensive.
coming for us.
9 million. For its impact fees.
Wow.
Or like.
Yep.
All righty, any questions? All right, I'll interject with the motion.
Make a motion that we adopt resolution 2024-L.
Motion by Rickard, second by Gibson. Good discussion. So, Harrington. Is that, we fought this for a long time, are they, I mean, and you're on the board, are you, what's happening with that? It's, there was all these improvements, all these price increases. That's very much controlled by the federal government. EPA tells them how they have to treat this, so that's taking over to the non-coordinated system that's required in PCB, and it's like a $90 million price tag. Doing that all over the country. Well, it's me that the grid selling needs some of this nourishment. And so it's not like it's going into Mississippi River or Gulf of Mexico or something like that. It's, I know there's something we can do about it. Bring it up when you go. Yeah. Thank you. And we discussed it a lot. Well, maybe this is internal on the board. So why are we doing this? Oh. Okay, roll call vote. Harrington.
Yes.
Gibson. Yes. Marion. Excuse.
Hudson,
Yes.
Gary,
Yes.
okay, carries. Besides insurance coverage, step up possible action to approve insurance coverage for the fiscal year 2025 with Utah Local Government Trust Limited.
Yes, thank you. Before you this evening is a proposal for renewal with our, risk insurer, and it's the trust. We're recommending, utilization and continuation of, their services, and I don't know if there's any specific questions with that. There is a breakdown in your packets on that.
Shows an 8% increase.
Yes, and part of the thing with,
35%.
Are we changing what is covered?
no, it's rare and it's not, it just depends. Some of the years when we have bigger claims, then the next 3 years we kind of pick up and then it drops off again, so. But we are working closely with them, and this may be partially to the credit of you all and your recent approval of that policy. So with the reinsurance, they had a checklist of a few different items, and one of them was that policy and working with youth, and that was adopted by the council, and appreciate your efforts with that. So the other thing that we have been working on and have been getting some reports on with regard to cybersecurity and some of the efforts we've done there, and so that may have lowered our risk a little bit as well. But we are working hard to minimize risk where we can, and we've also formed for the trust recommendation, and they actually give us a refund at the end of the year, a safety committee. We've got the chair here with us, Tyson Jackson, and appreciate his efforts with that safety committee. And I can't remember, Stetson, if you're on that committee or not, but yeah, sorry, there's 2 different committees and you're on that one. Sorry, and Stetson's on that as well. So, but it's really good just to talk about how we can make things safer and better from a risk standpoint. So I don't know if there's any questions on that.
We have, I know we do a lot of the trust, that's supposedly a co-op where we get the best deal. Are we getting the best deal there through the trust, or is there other options we have looked at or compared with?
So we actually, this year, we did do some evaluation. I appreciate that question. One of the things with the trust, and I think kind of learning this is with the insurance environment right now, is there's been a lot of kind of rapid things hitting at our desks and requests to make some policy accommodations or things to really work through this. I think one of them that came up in Founder's Day recently, or if it didn't, I may surprise you all, but like bounce houses. So they have to have a separate policy for bounce houses. They're starting to kind of parse out all of these policies. So we did meet, the mayor and I met with Olympus this year just to kind of review and explore options in that. And really from a price point, we didn't have them vetted out because we'd have to list out every single item we'd want insured. It's kind of a 3-party brokerage type situation. But I think that that's a legitimate option. However, the thing that's really nice with the trust, there's a couple of things. One of them is training. They do help provide employee training and training resources to our employees. So they do a harassment and discrimination training every year. They did a defensive driving training this last year for us. And they do trainings down at their offices, and then just kind of a conglomerate of the different unique features of local government and looking to ensure those from anywhere from, public works functions, planning functions, police, so they understand what we deal with at a really excellent level.
And I think, what is the percentage? 99% of the cities?
I don't know if it's quite that high, but it's rather high. I think it's,
Who else are, I'd just like to know, not today, but what are some of the other cities that are not on the trust? What are they?
so North Ogden uses Olympus. And so that's the other company we met with. The other one that Ogden used was Irma, and Irma's a lot more for the larger cities and the larger claims, frankly, because it's just like a payback type insurance. So it's a little bit different model.
I'm not saying this isn't the best, just seems like we just always
Mhm.
kind of fall back to the trust, and we assume that is, our very best option. I appreciate that they do work with the cities and the
absolutely.
training, all those things are great to have.
But I do think, and I agree with your sentiments, it's very important that we continue to evaluate and weigh what's best for us at every given year, frankly, and so I think that's part of, the meeting the mayor and I had with Olympus, and again, they seemed really excellent as well. It just, I mean, with the timing in it, it just didn't seem like an appropriate recommendation for a jump and a shift.
That's fine, I'd like to know why McLaughlin really chose to do that. I mean, they're a little bit bigger than the other, but why not?
Double.
Double. Anyway, that's fine, I'm for this, and I have no problem, do we need to take a motion there?
Trust fund insurance and public safety. It's too expensive to.
So. Mayor, I'll make the motion that we approve the insurance coverage to the trust for 2024, 2025, Utah local government. As stated by.
I'll second the motion.
Motion by Gibson, second by Yuri. Further discussion? All fair say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries. Item 6 is a public hearing and compensation special possible consideration to approve compensation increases for executives, municipal officer ordinance 2024-13. You can know the history of this.
Yes.
Maybe
So, before you this evening is something a little bit different, but not horribly different.
Let's do this first. Why don't
Yeah.
we go to the public hearing then?
Okay, no problem.
Motion on the public hearing.
Second.
Motion by Nelson, second by Arrington. On favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, now.
Okay. So, this is something that's a little bit new, but not entirely new. In that we've typically had all of the salary ranges for our employees listed in the budget document. And that's been part of the budget's public hearing. There's a new provision in state law to enhance transparency, and with that, they've called out specific positions, and it's defined as executive municipal officers, and this is in a recently amended portion of the code, which came into effect starting May 1st. So it's Utah Code Section 10.3.18. And ultimately, what it outlines and requires, I guess, is that not only those ranges be listed as part of that for transparency's sake, but also the current placement of where the employees are at in those ranges, and then also the prospective or approved increase that's occurred with that employee. The tricky thing with the way our salary works is it's a merit-based system, and so they go in and I go in just as similar, but based on the merit of their employee and the quality of work produced is what's going to determine the amount of that increase, and it's a percentage. And so for the sake of assuming that all of our employees are going to excel and be excellent, and to really not minimize and cap potential, Laurie's put in 100% assumption. That's probably not going to happen, but that's what's included in that, just because the way the state law is framed is you need to have some type of increase described in what anytime there's an increase in these positions. And so you'll see that, and I'm not anticipating, I think the budget is really the time that we do that, but when that comes forward, that proposal so that there is an increase, that there's a separate public hearing for the increase. And so we probably will try to group them together. So you'll notice in this that it is listed as percentages instead of dollar amounts. And it's not to not be transparent, but rather I think there's some personnel challenges involved with just listing full out exactly where an employee is and where they might be. However, this is absolutely simple to calculate if there's a desire. And so it's showing basically where they're at from a percentage point on how much of that they're getting of the range maximum.
Current, obviously, in the perspective is where you think it would be.
Exactly.
So one looking in the very near future, like minutes from now. When we approve this or whatever, it's possible that and we're possible, so it's approved possible compensation increase.
So we put perspective, but if possible is a better word, I think that that's okay.
Well, because what we kind of done is listed 100%. Yeah. So possible perspective, I don't know.
So that,
Well,
Either way.
they listed the perspective, so the current is 10%. Perspective could be 33, and so I talked to them.
That's what I don't
I'll
understand.
calculate this, but yeah.
It's slow, but where it's, keep saying 100%.
The
So-
100%,
so-
what the high is could be 100%.
If you got 100% on your merit,
Then you would end up, so. You can choose. Let's say I'm looking at recreation director. If it's 52.6 is the current percent, then potentially she could jump to 65.2%. If she's given 100% score on her.
yes.
So that's
Evaluation.
the highest she could potentially,
But that still wouldn't be 86, because 86 is the top. of it.
yeah, yes, so she could potentially get up to 65% of the range.
Yes.
Okay.
And I guess you,
And I do understand it's kind of complex with the way that it's framed. The main thing that I think is important to highlight is the position ranges for the positions, and then also that there is prospect for increase for merit. But obviously, this is the council's determination on approving this, and ultimately we'll have a public hearing for it.
Again, I'm sorry if I'm being slow.
No,
We set the ranges, right? So this ranges aren't set by state law. We
No.
set the ranges.
those are the current.
Those are the current ranges. What we're asking to be approved today is the setting the ceiling on the prospective final compensation. Is that what we're doing, is setting the maximum that could go?
yeah, and to clarify too, this is nothing different than what's included in the proposed budget for the employees. So I think that that's caused some confusion too. It's just the state has asked that we please highlight
Truth
and make it exactly more transparent in what we're doing with the higher level executive municipal officers as they frame it and listing out all of those positions and their different salary ranges and allow the public to come and comment on salary specific.
so we can set, like Phil mentioned, the cap, but that doesn't mean necessarily cap. We're just setting what the range could be.
Correct, because the challenge is, and this is where the state law says, you know, any increase needs to be transparent and open to the public, and so if we don't include the prospective total increase, then we'd have to come back to the council for an individual position and say, actually, you know what? I thought that this person was gonna perform at 50% and they did 55, so I hope they're higher.
So we're looking at maximum exposure if everybody scores 100.
But this is what they could prospectively do.
Everybody scores 100, but then I have potholes on my road.
So we want to make sure the word is expected and something.
So,
So possible.
yeah, perspective.
It's fine.
Yeah,
All right, is there any member of the public which? Seeing none, we entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
motion to go on public hearing, close it.
Nelson, second by Yuri, all in favor, say aye.
Right.
Thanks to council, questions?
Legislatures, so it's going to just make that comment, that's really stupid.
Well, it's right, I mean, you have a public hearing for your budget,
It's already done.
it needs to be outlined in the budget and not just long or something.
Yeah, they could have done that. I agree.
But whatever, it's okay.
And you can look this up anytime, anybody's compensation on transparency that we talk about.
It's okay, it's okay.
Good.
Okay. I'd entertain a motion to approve the prospective salary increases. Or this one for that.
So I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 2024-13 for the compensation, prospective compensation.
I'm the second motion.
Motion by Nelson, second by Gary, this will be roll call vote.
It's an ordinance.
And Harrington?
Yeah.
Wilson? Marion's excused.
Yes.
Yours?
Yeah.
Passes. Item 7 is the budget workshop. Martin, yes, Martin.
Yeah, did everybody bring their budgets?
Yeah.
So we're gonna have the public hearing on the budget next meeting. So we thought this meeting for the budget workshop, if you guys had anything that you want us to address, or you're looking through it and just say, hey, why is this? I'm starting to collect changes that we're making. I've already collected quite a few changes. So when I bring this budget back, any red lines, anything that I have changed from what you see will be red lines. Just say, hey, this is how we've made a change, or expenditures are a little different than what we thought they were going to come in, because it's been like a month now. I've gone through and collected more projects that people have come through and say, hey, we need some more. We didn't put this in, and we've gone out more future into the equipment replacement fund. We've only budgeted for the 2 years. We thought, okay, let's go out to the 5 years like we usually did in the other ones. And so we've added those projects. But this is for you guys, if there's anything you guys want to see. Anne had asked a question about the different funds. And so I have a little worksheet in front of you. So the question is what are the different funds? What are the funding sources, and what can those funds be used for? And so I highlighted everything general fund. So we have the general fund. Its sources are taxes and fees, and you know those. And then I indented the Class C roads, that transportation sales tax, and the state of Utah alcohol funds. Those are in the general fund, but they are restricted to only those projects. So the state gives us those monies. We either have to use them for roads, or for the state alcohol, it's for alcohol enforcement and education. And any balances that we do not use, it's restricted, and it rolls over to the next year.
So that can be used for the police's budget.
No, that's just for enforcement. So they use DUI shifts. They'll buy a computer just for tracking, whatever. They have to get approval from the state to use those funds. So those are restricted. And then you have the park development fund, the building fund, and the equipment funds, and they are not the enterprise funds. So in the park development, it's funded basically by impact fees, ramp, and donations. And every one of these have interest and these little fees, but those are the main funding sources. And then the building, it is general fund, and the equipment replacement fund is general fund. And if you look out to what it can be used for, the park development is park projects. You can't use it for an O&M. It's basically your impact fees. Ramp tells you what you can spend them for. So those are kind of restricted. The building fund is funded by general fund, and it's for any future project. So we've set up, you know what, we may need to have a new city hall, or expand this city hall, or build a community center. And I put out to the side that what we are putting into that is a deficit. We're not putting enough in there to ever build anything without some major funding or doing something on those. The equipment fund is the general fund. That is just for our larger equipment, our fleets, big projects. That one I had went back 5 years, and the average that we're spending out of that is about $613,000 every year for the last 5 years. Then the next grouping is the storm, or our enterprise funds. So storm, sewer, water, sewer, and garbage. So the users are paying for those funds and impact fees. And so it's pretty restricted to those funds. So if you're paying into the storm sewer, we're going to use your fees to pay for storm sewer projects. And we're not going to transfer money from those funds unless we have a public hearing. Everybody knows, hey, we're taking your money, we're giving it to the water. So they're really kind of on the restricted side. And garbage, there's no impact fees there. It's just the user fees are paying that. And then we have the road fund that we have set up is being funded by the TUF fees and impact fees, which is new, which we just passed about a month ago. We get WACOG funds and UDOT awards. So basically it's for road repairs, and then like with WACOG or UDOT, there's requirements from the grantors that we have to follow.
Then the TUF fees sent out to me.
The TUF is on your utility bill, so you'll see that you're being charged, is it $4 a month?
Okay.
So that's going into roads, and then we'll use those for roads, road repairs, chip and seals, crack seals.
Way out of date, not.
Well, we'd have to do a study or update it, so that's what we have right now.
That's where your studies, but that's.
Yeah,
Set up, that's not.
I would word suit like one deal.
so we need to review that.
Just a question about storm sewer oil, Brad. We moved the 800 West project from 2025-26 to 20.
Next year.
So this budget we're looking at now.
No, the budget we're looking at now, we put in engineering, enough to do engineering, because we don't think we'll get the project, and then we put the 300,000, 300 for next year. So,
No, the budget we're,
Oh.
not the budget we're in now, the budget we're looking at now. 2024-25.
page 16, 17. Let me just turn to those pages.
17.
But there's a little bit just to start. Because start.
Yeah, 290
Right. So that's going, so it wasn't from 5, 6.
Yeah.
to next year. And then we're doing 10,000 for engineering and prepping it for the big project to get it done.
Okay, I see.
'Cause I don't think we're gonna be able to spend it by the end of June. Have it done and paid for.
Engineering.
No, the big project.
Oh.
So we put it next year, 290.
And Laurie, of these like, these budgets, do any of them expire or do all of them roll over? Like, is there something you like, you have to spend it by such a date or do you use the funding? That's grant, that's obvious.
It goes back into the general fund, not that.
Nothing
Do you have
really.
Deadlines on like WACOG funding, do you have deadlines, any other deadlines, but like you have to spend money by that time?
WACOG, we have interlocal agreements with them. I know the mayor and Amy have contacted them several times and asking, hey, can we use it for this project? You know, so that's kind of like a work in progress.
Yeah, the WACOG funds are an ongoing source, and so as long as there's some form of progress, we're in pretty constant communication with them on it's going forward.
Must be done in 4 years. or
The-
something like that.
Yeah, the only other thing is with the ramp grants and just making sure for the projects that have been funded, completing those, we're working through that.
We monitor the terms of whatever grant.
I was just gonna say that in our product, it's like they have deadlines that are supposed to match your capital facilities plans.
And on the WACOG funds, to get that funding, we always have to continue to apply. Like, it's not something they just give us. We have to put an application in every time, right?
Not every time. So once it's awarded and the funding's received, it really is kind of a different process. I mean, so for example, the funds that we have for FY 25, it's calendar year 25. Oh, county's on calendar year. I get confused. So starting January, we have those road funds in place for the joint project with Far West. And so that's something, but it's kind of coming right out the chute anyway, but I think with the timing of when they actually provide the grant funding, we typically have enough lead time to get things ready and queued up, but if we don't, like with Skyline Drive and some of the funding, then we incrementally work with them and make sure that we're meeting all the requirements and don't
I
forfeit
think
the
you
funding.
have to show progress or something, you can't just. say-
Correct, we do have to provide that, and we work really closely with their grant administrator.
Thank you.
Did apply for the grant.
Yeah, well, one's property acquisition, I can't remember,
So like
2 grants.
enterprise
It's
fund,
due July 8th, 6th.
Mhm.
something like that.
So it's
We sent our letter.
notice of intent, yeah,
So-
And you sent that to us, right?
yes, I think so, I don't know, I can send it if I didn't.
So I
and
think,
you kind of explained it last time and stuff, but enterprise funds pay for themselves. And so
They
whatever we
should.
charge, in theory, well,
Mhm.
no, they really should.
They
Whatever
should.
we charge is what we charge.
and those ones, they're a fund within themselves, and we really should be building up the balance to say, you know what, if we had an emergency, could we replace? I mean, it would be up to you guys. Do we want to be able to replace 50% of all of our infrastructure, or do you know what I
Right.
mean? And then start working on those
Really,
balances.
That's why back to my little earlier, the top fee should be released because it hasn't been assessed or looked at, not reassessed or anything. That's not been reevaluated in cases 2016.
Restudy.
Restudied. It has to be
That
assessed.
was, I mean, that was
covering any particular thing.
It was added to our roads.
It's trying to enter the roads fund, which I don't think,
We don't have any
but
separate class C road funds.
I know, but I just don't think that's a good place to raise that. I mean, the residents are already, that's on them.
Where?
That's something to think that, I personally don't. think that
I just-
right now. Well. But with a little bit we get, $4, even if we did $8, $20. Instead of that, in that particular thing, honestly.
When you say enterprise funds, you're talking about in this storm sewer water, all that one.
Whatever the water, all of that, whatever.
And so if you don't have enough money in water, raise your water.
Yeah.
We don't have enough, so that's why I said we don't have enough money in the roads really. And
The roads aren't there.
no, but it's, anyway,
Just storm sewer, water, sewer, and garbage, so they're
Yes.
enterprise.
yes.
Did that kind of answer your questions, what you're looking for? Okay.
Regular business.
Then the general fund is what we allocated for. Really.
Well, the concept is you're not balancing your general fund by reducing your water rates.
Right.
Your sewer rates, your garbage rates, they go for that service.
Right, right.
service.
That makes sense. Yeah.
And what's the amount that we have to kind of keep a cushion in our general fund to be safe?
35 is your maximum
35% of our annual budget.
I think we-
of the revenue.
I think we want to keep the 3%, is that what we wanted to shoot for? We talked about 4 to 5 years ago.
Is there a legal
But-
requirement?
The low is
Like,
It's a range.
5 is the low, and that means you're in trouble.
Gosh, that'd be terrible.
Yeah. But it's really up to you guys. You guys can set whatever percentage you want. How risky you guys are, or how,
But the state only requires 5%, but that would be.
Between
You're-
5 and
you're in trouble.
35. Yeah.
yeah, you're in trouble if you're at 5% and you can't. I mean, you're in trouble if you can't get it above 5.
So this is a stupid question, but how do some of these cities, and I don't think this is Utah, some of these other cities run a deficit? I mean, how are they allowed to do?
I don't
that?
know.
So their state laws are different. So our state laws require that we manage with a balanced budget. There's other states that are not, don't have the same requirements. They can bond, they can,
Billions of dollars in debt.
yeah, and some cities have declared bankruptcy. It's really unfortunate. No,
Well,
Well, I-
some of the rates in Utah, the recent, in the last couple of years.
They just run a deficit.
Okay, any particular questions then?
Just so you know, also, the property taxes is a total guess, what the number I put in. So hopefully the first week or second week in June, I will have the numbers. And as soon as I get those, we'll put those in and I'll make sure I can get the budget to you maybe before that night with all the red lines that you guys can look through it for the public hearing and see what you want to
You're still saying 7.
adjust.
For the sewer
Okay.
fund.
That's really close to the 11th.
Yeah, 8 or 9 or
So that's, so, yeah. And are we still, the public hearing, that's not truth and taxation, that's just the budget.
First, we have to do this treatment taxation.
no.
No, this is just our public hearing for the budget.
So what it'll do is if approved, it'll establish a working budget. And then if there's a determination to have the truth and taxation hearing, then you would make a decision, determination to set those hearings. That would be in August.
Okay.
I just would like to publicly say, and glad that the chief's not here. and the rest, I don't personally want to bring in another executive on the budget. I know that's going to put around, I know it's not in the budget, but just I would like to voice my opinion on that. Just, I don't go with that right now. I'd like to see some other things. in the Police department, so anyway, I know that that's been out there, and I just personally, that's my opinion. So,
And that's not included in this.
currently. But what we ask here is when we do get the numbers in, to tell us what it be without request, what the proposed tax increase would be with the request and what without. You mentioned there's some changes.
I don't know, I personally, there are other things that we like want to do with some money versus that are right now. And not to say I support the police department 100%, and I am not trying to gut them or anything, I just like to see some of the attached.
Would you say you received changes and changes for more money or changes for less?
Well, you have a lot of, I put a lot of things in here. I know we had our safety meeting or something and we talked about hard hats and OSHA compliance. And I haven't added anything like that. So just little things that are coming up. I know that they've talked about that Skyline Drive. They're doing engineering right now. I didn't know about it, so I'll need to amend that. What's the company on engineering?
CRS, but we actually do have, and I don't think I talked with you, we have an authorization from WACOG to get reimbursed for that.
Okay,
Yeah,
That's the survey,
It's not.
not engineering. They didn't survey in that. We call it phase.
The new route.
This has nothing to do with fire engineering, this has everything to do with.
Yeah.
yeah, so this is a third party, this is just to keep the progress on the project, it's not anything substantial, it's just. So they had the phase 1, phase 2, this is completion of the phase 2 engineering side, and WACOG said that what we're doing is fully reimbursable, and I'm
So we'll
sorry I
get-
didn't communicate
yeah,
that.
so we'll,
Hats, engineering,
yeah, I'll have these all lined out for you too.
And really
Um,
quick on the hard hats, if you don't mind if I
Oh,
speak to that, Larry, and it's something I want to look at, and in our safety meeting, we also talked about some of the vests. So the hard hats that are made of plastic, over time start to, and I'm gonna,
They have shelf.
they have a shelf life. Mhm,
plastic,
exactly.
it doesn't, you know, correct.
So most of those items are wrapped up in your equipment outfits, because we have to have, like, behind us all the time to update.
Yeah.
When they lose their reflectivity. But, say like even partially hard hats, that main OSHA item, it was in there, it's the, shoring. That's a 15, but that was part of that original OSHA. I don't know if you want to pull out, have a side item of hard hats, I'm not opposed to it, but generally all your safety specific.
I just want to make sure those items are in there, and even the police need their reflective vests, like, I just want to make sure our employees, when they're out there working, are safe. So
Yeah.
I'm sorry if
I just like to hear some more.
yes,
Yes.
sorry.
Last week they talked about the vault, and so if we were to do another vault from the place that's take the old city office, that's in there, City Hall complex parking lot overlay in the these are all future things. And if we, the parking lot around here, if they got-
It's future.
just future, so we haven't budgeted for them, so we'll just put them in there. Animal holding facility, if they were to get rid of the CERT building totally and do something with that, I added that. In the future, we'll need a new material storage base for salt and everything down at the old decant, the new decant area. Repair the wash bay up here. And I put in, okay, what if you did police vehicles a lease versus purchasing them out? So things like that is what I have a list. I haven't added them yet,
No, I.
but, but as soon as I get numbers, the taxes, we'll get these out to you redlined. And hopefully you can look at them before that night, if we can get those taxes. So, and then, but tonight I was hoping that you guys would say, hey, what about this? Or do you have questions that we could start working on things? Getting you guys more information.
Do we have a line item where we can do matching funds for rent? I know we don't have anything allocated there, but we have a spot where we can.
I have put it in there, like for population ramp things, there is the revenue and there's the expenditures, and there's for the easy grants, there's the revenue in there in case we get them and the expenditure.
we
but
don't
I
have a
can't-
match.
No, unless something comes up,
I-
there's no funds to kind of match it.
I think I.
Unless we have a-
before, not that it matters, but you will get a lower score every time you use it. I'm not sure. But
A
they do
lower-
deliver it. They want you to use private funds, they don't want you to use public funds. And so just letting you know that your match is gonna be from another public taxable,
Mhm.
fund, you'll get a lower score.
But if there are future projects, I mean, we can surely add them and put them out to the side with the note that, we don't have the funds available, but we can have the
Right.
amount and the projects, start having them listed,
Start thinking about.
start listing them and you know, as things
Like-
come up or,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay,
So if you have a list,
lights on walking. Okay.
lights on the walking path.
Lights over.
That are non-vandalizable. I have my-
They have to, all the drinking.
How do you make them non-vandalized?
I have some, I took pictures of them and moved them to me. And I was like, this is cool.
What are they mean?
Like I put them.
That sounds like one of those here, hold my beer. Take the challenge to show you.
Yeah, I bet they're vandalizing.
You said it's not.
Okay, sorry, we're getting on a totally sidetracked, we're out all that. So if we
Okay.
have an ideal light, non-vandalizable light, we could add that in. for
Okay,
future type thing,
sure.
right?
That doesn't exist.
I think they just put.
No, if you do something like that, where you know you have a project you wanna do and you set money aside for that, rather than just that.
It's covered that over here. We already agreed that you can vandalize them.
Sorry, we were talking city sun.
So, and if
So
you
on the
do
same
it like, you just suggested
Less
for a
vandalized.
specific theme,
Yeah,
that would look better than just matching buckets.
All right, let's bring it back into the budget itself.
Like if you
Are we
have.
still
something
on
that's
parks? I just want to throw out one thing for all the parks ones, is it is getting difficult to try to lump in like some of your maintenance for the existing. So even like your playground, Barker Parks playground set is at the recommended age of replacement. And then you got the basketball courts, and just keep in mind that you have infrastructure that's aging, that you either need to update or.
Or your insurance
that's-
company won't cover anymore when something happens.
Yes, and a lot of that stuff that you can't, that's hard for us to ask for when these projects are already called out and that your budget's already hitting negatives. It's hard to say, hey, we should really invest 10 back into the basketball courts, or if you were gonna replace Barker Park playground set, I mean, that's 100,000 plus set. Like, those are things that generally, in the past, they used rent to do like
Yeah.
the Rockland and City Park, but even those are getting out there now too. It's amazing how fast.
That would be a thing though, to go through what we have, to look at. Let's look at ways to, you know, put it on a schedule to replace and repair and keep, just like the fleet and everything else that. we have.
Yes,
Those need to be brought, put on. It's also.
I did start to have them do our worksheet with all the,
Yeah,
I guess, those side items. And so what I've been trying to do is pull the recommendation of the dates for that infrastructure. And then some of them have been hard trying to go off memory, you know, what year we
when
installed.
Greg Schaefer was on the city council, that's when he got that, that's what I.
Yes,
Really.
so we are trying to build that out for parks, because a lot of them started to key out like the boardwalk and block, and it's in disrepair, and it's a large boardwalk. Say just the walking path, like those conversations, those maintenance items by themselves are huge.
Do we have those, if we talk about the walking path, do we have any, ability to do crack seal as well, or is that?
Some of that we talked about and
Is that?
tried to lump that in, but something like that, you could do, the street ones weren't good because you were basically pulling out over half of public works to go and do a street
I
project.
would like to put
That
that
doesn't work.
in there because if we don't take care of the walking path, it's gonna be, and I think we can just crack seal the walking path, I mean, it should be fairly easy, because if we have to redo that, it's gonna be a lot.
and maintain along the way would be a better idea,
So
right?
I'd like to maintain that, and it's been, I think it's been done once,
Yeah, we did it once.
but it's to do again, so I'd like to, put, you know, we could put some of the crack seal stuff, because we sell a machine, right?
Yep.
But I'd like to utilize that, and I didn't go out there and with Ann, probably she could
Thank you.
blow it out. I could-
No, and
I get a drive.
we even have some of the material left over.
So let's-
that last order, and then yeah.
Let's do that, I think that's a.
So
We talked about infrastructure, we need to keep that up. It's it's a joy.
Very used.
It's used a lot.
Can we please, before we put lights on the walking path, finish up some.
Yes, yes, we totally can.
Well.
I would say that, I don't think we need lights. I look at North Ogden, those are just, that was a complete waste of, I think, $5,000 each or something like that.
Okay.
Those lights were really.
This is for future, We have to decide today about this, but. Hey, but wait, one more thing while we're on parks and stuff. What about the welcome club sign? Is that in the parks?
That's,
So
that's in.
I would
Did
recommend
anybody
it
say that
and I,
people want to redo their life goal sign on the house and they want it redone?
Like this one?
I discussed with metal options and so what
I-
we just gotta.
I think if we
They're all
if we
like,
did the metal options, I think it'd be classy and it'd be done, it would have to be.
yes. Except for the metal option. So maintenance.
Anything for Laurie?
Well, just one thing, and I don't know how we could possibly, I'm sitting here trying to calculate it, but I know we've got looming this property tax increase or it's locking the rate, specifically increasing the property taxes. And I'd asked the question before, the other option is consumption taxes, which is a sales tax increase, and we could do up to 0.75%. We still have in our margin that state law allows us to do, and I know that's a disincentive to businesses coming here. But I'm trying to calculate, so a McDonald's generates about 3.7 million per location. Chick-fil-A does double that.
In revenue, sales
And
tax.
No, in taxable revenue. Of that, then it looks like North Ogden would get about 130,000, so that'd be about 261,000 in buildable taxes, 50% goes to the location, the city. So I'm trying to think, okay, what would a 0.75% increase do if we instituted a consumption tax? And I'm just trying to figure out what our deficit is that we're going to need to. Because it seems to me there's only two options, like second mortgage somebody's house and have them pay property taxes on it, or you tax the consumption of the things they buy. If I'm weighing those, I'd rather tax the stuff people voluntarily buy than the house.
You know, like these, for example, I contribute to North Ogden because I can only lease or percent. I hate that, because that is, I'm giving money.
And 50% gets distributed, yes, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and so you know, if we had a lot of things that would bring money outside of Pleasant View, I agree with that. Because if people from outside of Pleasant View came and got money in that sales tax, I could absolutely understand, but how many of those, I mean, like sales tax on the brush fund place, is that? You get sales tax
Well,
on that?
brush is probably service, so it's not sales.
Entertainment tax.
So,
Yeah.
so we have a few of the restaurants and got, you know, the
Fast food.
sell stations.
Now,
So I don't know.
we should be looking, just a comment there. I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, this is what my father said to me. I wish we would raise property taxes to the fees. You want to raise property? No, it's certain, but I at least can deduct my property tax off. Yeah, it's easy. Sales tax, gas tax, so their taxes and society is thrown at us, they're not taxes.
You're only, yeah, true, but if I'm on a fixed budget and I'm retired, I can choose the things I consume, you know, like I can choose McDonald's or making food at home, but I can't necessarily move. It's harder to move. That's the only thing. And I don't even know if we can get there on sales tax. That's what I'm saying. Before we vote on this budget, I don't even know if we can do that.
Yeah,
So-
get some figures.
I guess a comment I'd have on that or a question if the council so desires and the mayor, but I'm not super familiar with the process, but we're hopeful that the next time we get together, we'll have that county information, which would give us kind of those amounts that we're looking at. And we could also at the same time vet the process as to what it would look like for a sales tax increase. And honestly, I'm not familiar with the process. I've never been involved in that process, but that's not to say that it's not something we could
Yeah, I
evaluate.
mean, the math I'm doing, and I'm not, who knows if I'm doing the math right, but it would yield if North Ogden did what I'm talking about, that McDonald's would make them an extra 13,500. So you say, okay, what does that do? It's probably not worth it, right? It's the biggest business only yields 13,500. It doesn't get us across, I mean, we need more than 1,300. So that's what I'm saying, maybe you can't set that yourselves.
What's unfortunate with the truth in taxation is the general public, they really do not understand the tax structure.
Yeah,
So, the amount of taxes I've paid to Pleasantview City
oh, yeah, it's fine.
is like $170
Yeah.
a year. So if we have a 10% increase, look, 10%, I'm paying almost $4,000 a year on my taxes for not Pleasantview.
Yeah.
And it only costs you $17 a year.
No, I agree.
And it's like, then they don't, they see the 10% look at your tax bill, but
Yeah, an extra $400.
$400.
No, I get it.
So it's a tough thing. We are on the very lowest. And
I'd like to throw out is, I don't wanna like increase taxes, I don't want to, I don't think any of us want to, but I also don't wanna get behind and have to go have a huge dump. I would rather do just a little bit instead of like a massive tax increase, and so if we pull up the budget and we see that we're getting behind, we've got to do something small, at least,
No, I get it. That's what Harrison.
So
166.
the 3% is a whole lot better than 12%.
2 years ago, I think it was 367.
I just,
It's like, wow, that's tough.
where do we get the income from businesses that are coming in? Will we not see that until next
So
year?
it's on a quarterly basis, and so it really is gonna be an incremental deal. I mean, we've got the businesses, it was really funny the other day. I was at Marco's, I ran into Phil, who I guess would run into Sarah. So
No,
we're,
run into
we're
my-
doing our part here. But, no, so as they incrementally come into play, then it just kind of eases in. And honestly, as that complex, it's a strange thing with economic development, but as all of the businesses come in, that's when it's really gonna hit the busy level, because then people go to the restaurant row to kind of go and eat and entertain, and so it's.
So hopefully by June 11th, we should have some real figure or percentages, real idea of what we're talking. It's like, it's kind of like a what if discussion right now. I'd rather wait.
Yeah. My entire life, I've heard that Pleasant needs businesses to offset property taxes. I don't think anybody can argue that we had a deficit in businesses. So we'll see what it is.
Yeah. All right, any other questions for Doug? Not? We're looking forward to things to announce.
Nothing, but-
7th through the 10th doesn't give you a lot of time.
No, we'll plug numbers in and wait for a,
Yeah, this is the fourth conversation I've had about this. So everybody goes, this is kind of like ridiculous. All the boards I'm on, we're going through budget today. It's like,
just wait.
we have no idea. It's like,
Well, and the timelines keep changing every year too. I mean, that was the thing with, this other thing that we had on tonight. I mean, that was a Nubian state law that, now starting May 1st, any increases, you do need to go through this process and.
it's good stuff. I would not anticipate a change in that time. You would think with computer systems, the ability to calculate all that stuff, almost instantaneous. But honestly, if we download all this stuff into the spreadsheet. All the tax districts, all the tax fees and all the RDAs, everybody has in CDAs and all that kind of stuff, all centrally assessed property, state assessed property, if you want to talk about it, like centrally assessed, it's like the red road pipeline through our city, that kind of stuff. All that's all for all the city, it's pretty complicated. I guess it's pretty amazing when you get it done by the side. Okay, if nothing else, we'll move on to item 8. Set public hearings to consider amending 2023, 2024 fiscal year and adopting the 2024, 25.
Thank you for coming.
That was only on there because you guys said we'll put it on again. Because I said it for June 11th already.
I think
So-
we're good with that. Okay, everybody good with that?
It's faster.
and do the business.
Just well, we ordered a year and a half ago, we just got today, so.
Oh, wow.
That was pretty exciting.
Wow.
I think that's about a little over a year and a half to get a dump truck at that timeline. But now,
Fire engines 3 years now.
yeah, they're all now.
That's it.
No, the only thing I was gonna say is, some of us here, we got our street trailer out, that we did those things. Hopefully you guys have seen that out about, also, you know, we talked before about our animal control code enforcement, I talked to him today. I think he said, told his numbers, he's had like 45 code enforcement cases that he's got since he started that position. That's happened. So he's doing really good, getting out about proactive measure and then, be on top of that code enforcement stuff. Really guys said.
I got another one. Hey.
Did you?
Oh, it's bad, but good, right?
And we got lots of other meetings.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, we should.
Gravel.
He took a week off and I filled a lot of calls.
I almost called on some gravel. For me, I know.
So that's going good. That's going really good. That's good.
Hey,
So just, I don't know, Mayor, if you wanted to discuss our meeting with, Steve Waldrop in your time.
No, I mean, we're in the plan, he's gonna come and present to, talk a little bit more about it. How the cities need to step up to the plate. We'll let him do that. We'll let him do that, though.
That'll be great.
But I thought it was a pretty good meeting. I don't know, they had invited us down.
Yeah.
You're being really kind.
It wasn't. He understood, you know, we explained, we talked about some of the, you know, like above 4,300, some of the things that extended, and why that's not, you know, good by him. So he's like, makes sense, I see how then you're sitting, how this is sensitive lands up here. So he's pretty understanding.
Is this the guy that was here before?
No, so he's the governor's appointee for housing.
Or,
It was up in Eden, I think.
it was, and actually after they did the.
Oh, the-
Okay.
Okay. And then, yeah, Brandon and I are working on the housing report right now to try to keep our road funds, so.
Change it again.
That's okay, well, we can jump to a moving target. Obviously Veterans Monument went tremendously well, and appreciate the staff and council members and all that.
You know, I've gone by a couple times, because there's some here, out looking at it.
Yeah,
It's
looks
people
like-
stop and look, like, it's pretty cool.
Have a couple people reach out and say, stop and look at the monument. That name on there. It's like, how did, it's like, why didn't you get it on there? It's like, because you didn't submit his name. It's like, go into the city office and get that.
Or, we have those.
Yep, and we've got that on our website, so.
Anything else?
I'm just wondering, the June 25th meeting, the county's asking if I can close up the election ballot at 8 o'clock. But it is our city council night. Do you think that's a meeting that we can't stop at least 15 minutes before 8?
The timer starts to.
So that'd be written?
Okay, just so you know, if that, we could just kind of schedule a shorter meeting and I can tell them I can help.
June 23rd.
June 25th.
We got here by 7:15.
Keep it a light agenda that you control. it.
Okay, I'll try to control it. Okay. That's all I have.
Bill?
No.
Yeah, I'd just like to thank everybody for that. Veterans really having this, a great thing. It's like, a good day, a really good day to have that project wrapped up, and it just looks, it's just a great addition. Thanks for everybody for the hard work on that, it's what I say, a lot of people, a lot of doing to get that done, so. It's something we're all proud of. Sir.
I don't really have anything.
Steve? I just have one complaint. Leonard called. Steve, could you please spare a minute to assist me with the task?
Oh, I got that.
I was glad to receive a response through email. I'm occupied at the moment.
I sent the credit card number, did you not get it?
Yeah.
What is this? Why can't, I mean, it's obviously a scam, but. I
Is
mean,
that the first one that you got?
no, but all the
So
time.
what they do, here's how, I did get hacked, that's not how it works.
I know.
What they do is they go out on our public website and they see Mayor Leonard Paul, and they see council, and they, so they say, oh, if I apply like I'm the mayor, and I say, they're calling people to do fall for it.
How do they send it?
How do they send it to your email?
Oh, that's easy.
Okay.
Spoof an email. Yeah, that's-
All right. Anyway,
Yeah.
and it's, I know,
They're calling, we'll see some bizarre actual address.
but it's just, I mean, it just seems like it's all, I mean, it's so.
And it's not just, yeah, I got one just, it was from,
Anyway, sorry, I mean,
and I thought, man, that looks pretty legit. So I went up and clicked on my email, you know, it's like, okay, that is so far off. It's funny.
I just,
It looks so legit. It's like from America First Credit Union or something.
it's
I
like,
know that it's some time from the.
I have just one more quick thing,
Okay.
legitimate thing. The 11th, we scheduled that for our last Saturday meeting with June. So, I mean, everything I think is going really well. I've checked most everybody and everything. I actually was at Lee's the other day and I talked to her out there trying to get us a little better price on the salmon. And so but if there's anything that you feel that we have left, please give me a call. So we can get it covered. That's the only thing that I say, I can't think of anything that we're leaving out. But if you identify anything you've got, so anyway, please, maybe don't wait till the 11th, that, we'd love to have everybody there on the 11th to have the final thing, and it might be a little bit longer than, and then maybe.
I'll do an agenda.
Do the agenda.
Yes, I will.
I sent a meeting invite.
Yeah.
This is like so legit.
Thank you.
I think, yeah, I think, that's gonna be good. So, and it's system at the top, like, person.
Is this the health department? I've got an in.
So I'll list you as a primary contact for breakfast. Also, the youth sign up, you're back. I'm waiting for her, now I need expiration dates for food and permit and stuff like that. She's in South Carolina or something, so. Oh, it's kind of on the whole, hopefully I can get that before I go to. South Carolina, she's, so next Wednesday.
I have her order to get her stuff.
All right. Anything else? Not an independent motion to adjourn. There's that. Very good.